pretty. Thank you, Rick. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with our joy song, I Choose Heaven, which is up here on the wall. Stand as you are able. Over here. Sounded good. Okay, who's celebrating with us here in the sanctuary for the first time? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. If you'll take a moment and turn off your cell phones. Everyone's already turned off your cell phones? Yes, that's awesome. Our Adornment reader today is none other than Ann Dieter. And our musician today is the wonderful Maurita Wiggins. And our opening hymn, I don't know why I've done this 50,000 times and I still mess it up. Come on up, Ann.
Joy is your next lesson. Learning compassion, understanding love, and experiencing joy. That's our purpose, our reason for being here. That's our true mission on this planet. Learning compassion may have been difficult because in order to feel compassion for others without judging, we had to go through difficult times ourselves. Times when despite our best efforts, we couldn't help ourselves. Times when despite our searching, we couldn't find the answers. As many say, it is usually only pain and problems that make us compassionate. Understanding love may have taken many years, many heartbreaks, and much searching and grasping until we discovered that the key to love was our own heart. Until we discovered that love wasn't exactly what we thought or hoped it would be. Now it's different and better. Don't give up. Don't stop now. Don't let the residue, the pain from the early parts of your journey, stop you from going forward. We first had to learn about compassion and love in order to learn joy. The hard work is done. Now you have reached your reward. It is time to learn joy.
That was beautiful, thank you. Okay, our first hymn is on page 15, A Prayer for Peace. We will sing verses 1, 2, and 3. Page 15, A Prayer for Peace, verses 1, 2, and 3. Stand as you're able.
Observance to Veterans Day today.
Wandering through the Bible. And I was wandering through the Bible, rather through selected Bible verses, readings, which I've had for 40 years, and still find all sorts of wonderful stuff to share with you. This is from Philippians 2:5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. That's a rather tall order, isn't it? Let that mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. What does that mean? What was his mind? Well, if you just listen to some of the things he said, he was talking to God all the time. I know thou hearest me always. He was giving thanks. He was communicating with God on an ongoing basis. You read the scripture in time after time. Of myself I can do nothing, he says. He depended on God completely. Let that mind be in you. This is the best example we've got. There have been great, great teachers, great spiritual leaders throughout the millennia. But we listen to this man. 2,000 years ago, he said things that were gold, and they haven't changed. Let that mind be in you. And what is it? Is it complicated? No, it isn't complicated. You just talk to God, for heaven's sakes, like you talk to your next-door neighbor, like you talk to your children, your dearest friend. You talk to God. You tell it how it is for you. That relieves you. You're sort of venting. But it, after a while, enables you to feel that you are being heard. Now, you know you're being heard. That's the intellectual part of it isn't rough, isn't tough. But to feel like you're being heard and known and responded to, that's another order of stuff. And it just takes doing it. It just takes talking to God, that's all. No big deal, but a very, very big deal. Let that mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. That sense of dependence, that sense of trust, that sense that it's going to be okay, it's going to be fine, God's in charge. Let that mind be in you that knows that things are okay, really, no matter how they look, no matter how annoying or frightening they might be. It's going to be all right. You talk to God. And that help is forthcoming, always. Let that mind be in you as much as possible. When you're brushing your teeth, you're shaving, putting on your shoes, combing your hair, let that mind be in you. Makes a world of difference. Makes a universe of positive difference for you. Shall we say our divine science statement of being? You'll find it in your orders of your service if you haven't memorized it yet. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God and am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
One of many, many pieces that he wrote for solo violin.
time for our healing meditation. Some of us are able to do that daily, and that feeds the soul, feeds the mind and body as well. But let's do that now. Let's get still. And leave the outside. Allow ourselves to soak in the energy of those, and I assume that they are all of you, those who are here to draw sustenance, healing, peace, a sense of support and sustenance from one another, and especially from the intention for which we come, and that is to remind ourselves of those truths, those universal laws that we live with, through, but often ignore completely, forget. So right now, we allow ourselves to not only relax and take a few deep breaths, if at all possible, but allow ourselves to soak it up. Absorb the energy of intention, an intention to know God's presence, to feel His love, His support, His help. And today we address with both respect and gratitude all those veterans who fought in wars so that we might gather together on a Sunday morning and worship as we please. We give thanks for that magnificent sacrifice of theirs. For no one has returned from war unchanged by it. Sadly, sometimes destroyed physically, mentally by it. But we give thanks to each and all from the bottom of our hearts for what they have done, what they have done to support and sustain what our country needs, the blessings that we have because we happen to live within its borders. We celebrate them, and we celebrate the impulse for sacrifice and goodness and mutual support of one another, for they certainly do that. And we in turn, we affirm that we too can sacrifice in small ways giving of ourselves in some capacity to others who need help. Giving of our emotional support, sometimes just an ear to hear, a kindly word. They have given, and when we walk in their footsteps, we seek to give as well. In our meditation today, let us give thanks for them, but let us also give thanks for those others who have given so much to us. Teachers, doctors, our next door neighbors, friends, family, a circle of acquaintances or fellow workers. We give thanks for one and all. Small efforts at large. Let us spend the next 90 seconds noting, remembering, giving thanks. Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I will give you mental and emotional and financial and every kind of support that you need. For that one that created all things is first and foremost a giver, a sharer, a creator, a friend, a support, a lover, a companion. This day we include all those who are on our Valley Community Church prayer list. We include in our prayer our knowledge that we are supported and loved, protected, and enhanced in every way by God Himself. We extend that to your friends and your loved ones, the people you work with, neighbors, those whom you know. Like a golden wave, it moves from here, from you, and eventually engulfs our whole world in blessing. And not only are we grateful, but should they know it, the whole world rejoices, is lifted by what we do here today. Thank you, beloved Father, Mother, God. Amen. Shall we say the affirmative version of the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. Thou givest us this day our daily bread. Thou forgivest our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Thou leadest us not into temptation, but deliverest us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, this morning I'm going to be talking about a winner. Absolutely. You know, I regularly get mailings from the Publishers Clearinghouse. Anybody else get that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I go along with it. I put the stickers in the right places, and sometimes I buy something and put the order form in the envelope, scratch off the whatevers, and put a stamp on it and wait for the outgoing mail. I do. I figure that a 50-cent stamp is a pretty inexpensive way to get into a rather large lottery. Because at the end of next February, Publishers Clearinghouse is going to award someone $100,000 plus $7,000 a week for life. Now that's not chump change anyway. Not bad at all. But the odds that I would win that prize are 1 in 6,200,000,000. Not so good. I'm not really holding my breath, but well, who knows? My chances are just as good as anybody else's. And if you stuff that stuff back in the envelope and send it back to them, your chances are as good as anybody else's too, for heaven's sakes. Now, I don't know if anybody in this room is going to win that grand prize. However, we are all, whether we know it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, we are all winners. Not many of us think of ourselves really that way, but that is the spiritual truth of us. We've inherited the full complement of powers and virtues, of graces, creativity, and goodness and love that the creator of the universe possesses. We've got all of that. And that is so far beyond the equivalent of winning the greatest prize that we could possibly win in this world. You just can't even talk about them in the same breath. Somebody won $1 billion within the last week or two. Yeah. That's chump change compared to what each one of us has within them. It's just money. What do we have? All the books in the world could not describe what God has done in and through us. Now, humor me, please. Let's close our eyes and go within for just a moment or two. And would you say silently to yourself, I'm a winner. Say it several times. I'm saying, I'm a winner. Now, does it sound untrue? Or maybe does it sound like something you never quite thought of before? Is it an exciting idea? Say it just a couple more times to yourself. I'm a winner. Do you find it somehow warming? Now, please open your eyes. Yeah. This is an important truth. This is something you can take to the bank. It's something that we need to make part of our ongoing thinking, our ongoing certainty. I'm a winner. We are each and all winners. Why? Well, for one reason. And 1 John describes it very, very clearly, and one finds it other places in the Bible. It's a triumphant truth. And this is the Phillips translation of this passage. Consider the incredible love that the Father has shown us in allowing us to be called children of God. And that is not just what we are called, but what we are. Here and now, my dear friends, we are God's children. Unquote. That is one of the most important truths that divine science teaches. And it compels us to begin that work on ourselves, if we haven't yet, or continue it, to seriously change our self-image. And it involves exactly these words. We are God's children. Isn't God a winner? Yeah, of course he is. Isn't everything he does perfect? Yes. He didn't make any mistakes with us. He's never made a mistake. We were created in his image and likeness. We were created winners. We are winners, right here and right now, no matter what it looks like, no matter what the outside says. We are winners. Have you ever wondered what God thinks of you? In some of our former houses, homes of worship, we were told that God saw us as sinners. Or one time I heard a radio preacher say, we are dirty rags in the sight of God. Boy, that's one of the things that could well have contributed to a lot of people's low self-esteem. But in divine science, we define ourselves and everybody else in a very different way. We say with absolute conviction that what God knows about us is that we are a mirror image of him or herself. We are individualized expressions of God. That's what we say every Sunday morning in our statement of being. We are undivided from God. That's what individualized means. We are never separate from God. We cannot be separate from God. We are an eternal part of him, and he beholds us all the time. That's the difference between him, one of many. That's the difference, that he can hold it all in consciousness. And we see that much in consciousness, little teeny bits. But God knows us all the time, and what he knows of us is a mirror image of himself. He sees our soul nature, our eternal nature, because it is a perfection, a perfect duplicate, a perfect reflection of what he is. Nothing in the universe can change what God's created, and nothing can change our basic spiritual nature. We can make mistakes from A to Z. But that does not change what we are. It does not change our inner being. We were created winners. Now, just for another moment or two, close your eyes. And say silently to yourself just a few more times, I'm a winner. But hold in mind what 1 John said, and what we teach, and what we inwardly know, because somehow it is right. It feels right. It sounds right. It fits. I am God's beloved child. That is the truth of us. And somehow connecting it both with ancient biblical truths, the truths that are found throughout the Bible, the truths that we teach in this church, somehow gives that phrase, I'm a winner, it gives it feet. There's a foundation, a deep, true foundation for those words. Do you hear, do you feel something within you beginning to agree with that statement, that affirmation? I am a winner. And now, I thank you for opening your eyes. You know, this is just 1 John that speaks about this in the Bible. It's made clear a number of times, many times, that we are winners. And these other biblical verses also need to be integrated into our self-image, because they're the truth of us. There's the prophet Micah. Truly I am full of power by the Spirit of the Lord. Not just myself, but I am full of that Spirit, that winning Spirit. And from Isaiah, O Lord, thou art our Father, and we are the clay, and thou art the potter, and we all are the work of thy hand. We're the work of a universal winner. But maybe the idea of being winners sort of feels like trying to put on an overcoat that is 2 sizes too large. Maybe there are memories of former experiences or relationships or decisions that we have always put in the loss column rather than the win column of our lives. Maybe you think of them with regret rather than with satisfaction or a sense of peace. I want you to take a hard look at that and think it through again. Life is a school, and we learn far more from our so-called failures than we do our successes. Never, ever mix up a tough time in life where you experienced criticism or loss or disappointment of some sort. Don't mix it up as a time when you did not win, because you did. You won greater insight, probably. You won patience. You won perhaps a great power, a great realization of the lesson of the power of forgiveness. Maybe you came to some other so valuable realization. Please, please start seeing these experiences as wins, not as losses. See yourself as a winner through those experiences. They're not on the minus side of the ledger, the loss side. They are on the winning side, the plus side of the ledger of life. We absolutely have to begin thinking of ourselves in terms of our spiritual heritage, rather than the numbers on the bank statement that comes to you, or how many people you are on Facebook with, or whatever. Life is an ongoing series of opportunities to stretch, to become, to experience, and to rejoice in God working through us in service to others, in creativity, in newness, and a sense of excitement. Our attitude of openness and expectation for more good than ever before will attract those experiences to us, but only if we have a self-image that expects it. Proverbs says this to us: thine expectation shall not be cut off. You expect it, and get ready, because it's going to come. We want to seed our mind with the expectation of newness, of joyful experiences, of winning. Now, there are no doubt many people in this room who might be taken back a bit at my pointing to a certain person as someone to emulate, someone to copy. But in just one respect, just in one respect. The president of our country is a master at mentally changing whatever befalls him into a win. Pretty magical. Yes, he has a narcissistic personality, intensely focused just on himself. Yes, he sees himself as a very stable genius. Yes, he boasts, I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose my voters. Yes, he calls people with whom he disagrees demeaning names. Yes, he sometimes lies and sometimes makes statements completely unsupported by the facts. Any criticism, any unflattering remarks are met with a furious counterattack because he cannot stand to hear any kind of negative perceptions of himself, any kind of criticism of himself. All of which shows us that, oh my, there is a deep, deep, deep insecurity within him. But we have to admit that his persistently held belief in himself as great, as a winner, as being both worthy and capable of becoming a president, had propelled a very unlikely candidate into the presidency of the United States of America, and by a minority of the people in the country. Accomplishing what he's accomplished was an amazing feat when you really get right down to it. You talk about the power of belief. There's that man on our TV and our newspaper all the time. There is the power of belief. Is there any question that he thinks of himself as a winner? None at all. Donald Trump's self-esteem is based on his money, his possessions, his so-called negotiating skills, and his power and prestige as the President of the United States of America. But these are all external, changeable facts, not internal spiritual truths. We base our beliefs on unchanging truth. We are God's children. We are endowed spiritually with the full gamut of our Creator's qualities, but we must accept and rejoice and express these winning strengths. Emmett Fox once wrote a pamphlet called Stake Your Claim. I think it was first a sermon and then became a pamphlet. But in the early days of our nation's history, a man could possess a section of land or even a possible gold mine just by choosing a spot in virgin territory, marking his boundaries with stakes, and moving in. He proved his claim by living and working that claim for a certain specific amount of time. And it became his. It was his. In exactly the same way, we need to stake our claim. We need to mentally give thanks, acknowledge, and accept the good that God has specifically prepared for each and every one of us. We have access to abundance, to wholeness of body and mind and affairs. We have access to love, to being valued and appreciated for what we are and for what we do. We need to stake our claim. We need to set up residence in the consciousness of the ongoing availability of God's help and His love and His guidance. Oh, the time is long overdue for us to wholeheartedly see ourselves as winners. As winners in the cosmic scheme of things, as winners in our day-to-day living, as winners here and now, whenever and wherever. We are profoundly grateful. This is the truth of us. But let's take a tiny leaf from Donald Trump's book and believe in our destiny as winners. Like him, we refuse any contradictory thoughts or even experiences. Instead, we put them in the plus side of the ledger by discovering the blessings that were within them. We might not win the Publishers Clearinghouse at the end of next February, but we are and forever will be God's winners. Shall we go within? And shall we say to ourselves, I am a winner. And we say it several more times. And it begins to remind us of all the things that we have won at. And to give us expectations of yet more winning in the days to come. Always bringing God along with us. Always knowing that it is through His grace and goodness and power that we experience this good. We are winners. We have always been winners, even when we didn't know it. We will always be winners. Thank you. Thank you, beloved Father, Mother, God. Amen.
This is called Largo by George Friedrich Handel.
beautiful. Thank you so much, Lisa. And Maurita, your message was so wonderful. Thank you. Okay, now it is time for the blessing of the gifts. If our ushers will please come forward. Okay, let's say together our statement. Today, I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gifts that I am. Through me, God omnipresent, blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God.
Take one. Pray for them. Bless yourself. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, to start with, this morning we want to say thanks to the people that did the baklava class yesterday. It was fun for the ones that were cooking. It was fun for me to watch, but it was even more fun for me to eat what Lisa had made it ahead of time. It was awesome. So I told her this morning about 10 o'clock last night I was wanting a piece of that baklava. I didn't have any, so. But yeah, it was wonderful. Thanks for the 3 people that took the class, and I'm sure they enjoyed it. They did a great job, so thank you. Next Sunday is our Thanksgiving breakfast. I do need to know how many people are coming, so we'll have enough food. We're not saying it's going to be $5 or whatever. We're just asking people to make a donation so that we can cover the cost of the food. As of right now, I know we're having French toast, sausage biscuits, and gravy, and grits, and some kind of dessert kind, and I don't know what else is on the list, I forgot, but I know those things we are having, so we're going to start eating breakfast around 9:30 to 10:30 next week, and it's time to clean up before service starts. So, also next Sunday is the ecumenical service at 7 o'clock. But also they have asked us if we can provide some cookies for this, our snacks for the service, so I'm asking for a few people to bring us some cookies so we can take over there that afternoon.
Or cakes.
Cakes, okay.
Yeah, just come early to the service,
Okay, all
like
right.
6:30, something like that.
Okay, so I'll make another announcement this week so we can get that together so we can take Maurita just found that out this week. Also, our own Maurita speaking, that's Sunday night also, so make sure that you all show up for that. Let's see, then we'll, of course, as I said before, November is a busy month. Then after Thanksgiving dinner is here, Thanksgiving Day, and it's going to be at 2 o'clock unless y'all change that. And y'all need to see, people that are coming need to see Ann and talk to her about what's going on with that, because she's in charge of Thanksgiving dinner. So, but it will be at the church at 2 o'clock. Also, coming up in November, we've got Kerry Rutledge is giving a concert on the 30th, Christmas concert. He's asked for us to donate toys, so we have a box out in the foyer for that. And then on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, we're going to be decorating the church for Christmas, so we'll have that all ready for a visitor that's coming on December the 2nd. So we have all that all done. Also, last week we made the announcement about the poinsettias again. We just did a little spiel, and we ended up getting a total of 78 poinsettias. So we'll have 78. We'll be picking those up. We'll pick them up on the 13th. So if you haven't paid Laurel for them, please do so before we pick them up in December, so she'll have the money for that. Today's flowers are for Laurel for her birthday. Happy little birthday, Laurel. Also, her birthday's not at the end of the month, but we'll get a head start. Also, I know it's a little early, but we need to know the answer to this before Nancy does the orders of service for December. Christmas Eve is on Monday. Gosh, it's all confusing. But anyhow, we've had people talk in the past that they didn't want to service late because it interfered with family stuff. So we're going to ask the people of the congregation that come to church on a regular basis to vote. We've got 4 times on here, so pick a time, and if that doesn't suit you, write it in. Put your name on there, and then we'll go with what everybody wants. The times that we put on here, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you want something different on Christmas Eve, let us know, and we'll take the majority. We'll grant it. This is for all the congregation. It's not for just members. It's for, because most people come here aren't members anymore. So, but anyhow, when everybody that comes on a regular basis to vote, have a chance to vote for that time of service, and we'll decide so Nancy can have it in the orders of service for December. So we'll know what's going on. Did you have anything? Okay, I think that covers it all, I think. Oh, and you can pick these ballots up here after church, and I'd like to have them within the next couple of weeks so we can get that done.
Okay, thank you, Jan. And so we will conclude our service almost with Your Name is Wonderful projected on the wall. Stand as you are able.
Shall we gather hands? We get still and we go within and we say to ourselves, I'm a winner. Praise God, I am a winner. I am a light. I am a force. I am an energy that is positive and blessing. I am a being who lifts. I am a winner. May I forever think of myself exactly that way. It matters not what outer circumstances might come. If we look deeply within, they are the experiences of winners. And today we give thanks for that concept, that reality, that truth, played out in mind and body and attitude, and in every interaction with others. So it is today, and so it is always.